I said at the top of the show this was going to be a unique experience, that you've never seen anything like this, and I think that statement has been proven true. Matt, Tony, and Kent, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Zentherstick, start off, just tell me, first off, what your instruments are, because you know, you just look at them, and I'm sure people are confused at that at the first place.
They're all very, very unique instruments. I play an instrument called a theremin. Tony plays an instrument called a Zen drum, and Kent plays an instrument called a Chapman stick.
Okay, and you know, how does one end up in, you know, not only having one of these instruments in a band, but all three? I mean, I can see, you know, maybe one person, okay, you know, I want to bring in my crazy theremin or my grand stick. But how do you guys all find each other and say, you know what, we're going to make music with all of these crazy instruments that nobody else has ever seen?
Well, Tony and Kent and I have been playing together for the past 23 years, actually, all the way through high school. And so Kent is a guitar player, Tony's a drummer, and I was a bass player. And we have a band that we do that in also. But then Kent got the Chapman stick, and it was very odd, and I felt kind of left out. So I discovered the theremin through a coincidence, a Sundance movie called Theremin and Electronic Odyssey.
Right.
And so Kent and I both had odd instruments. Tony then was the odd man out, and he went for.
I had to go on a search because these guys had these really odd instruments, and I thought, well, normal drums just aren't going to cut it. So we went on a big search, tried to find the strangest percussion instrument we could find, and we came up with this.
And so explain exactly what this thing is.
Well, this is essentially a MIDI controller. It's like a keyboard, only without the black and white keys. Each one of these black pads can control a sound, a drum sound, or a keyboard, or a voice, or anything. And so I've taken my drum kit from home and recorded all the sounds of the kit and assigned each one to a pad. So here is a cymbal crash.
That was
that's from my drum set at home.
That was pretty simple. So you could have like the world's biggest drum kit
Sure.
in this small compact unit.
Sure.
So give me a quick drum solo here.
Sure.
Amazing. And Kent, you've got the Chapman stick. That's a lot of strings, but no, I don't see the body for this instrument.
Yeah, this was invented by a gentleman, Emmett Chapman. He still makes these instruments. He started developing them in the early 70s. And he just likes the minimalist approach, and you know, they're very functional. And you know, I only work on 3 or 4 of the strings, so I'm still working on the rest of them. But basically, one side of this is kind of a bass guitar sound, and the other side is more like a guitar, but you actually tap the strings instead of strumming. And that way, it's got 2 different pickups, so you can actually get different sounds on the right-hand side than you can on the left-hand side. And so I can kind of play more the bass player and guitar player of kind of an ensemble like this.
This instrument better not get out, because there's going to be a lot of musicians out of work if, you know, you can combine 2 jobs into one.
Well, the problem is they have to have 2 brains to play it.
Well, I gotta imagine it requires some pretty fancy finger work to make this all work. But I don't think anything requires as fancy finger work as this thing. This is probably one of the most difficult instruments to play.
Aside from the French horn, which has been known as the most impossible to play, this is absolutely impossible. It's the only instrument that you play without having physical contact with, and so it does make for a challenge.
So now play a little something for me.
Now there's 2 antennas. One is for volume and one is for pitch. So the closer I get this hand to this antenna, the higher the pitch goes. And then on this antenna, the further I pull my hand away, the more volume I get. And it's almost impossible to play. And in fact, to prove that to you, it would please me no end if you would play.
All right, let's see. Well, I think I can make a sound. I can have it make a sound, you know, which is more than I can do with a lot of instruments. But yeah, I notice you get into a very zen-like situation while you're playing this.
I do. I'm normally a very animated person, but when I stand in front of the theremin, I suddenly go into the zone. And it's very, very hard to play. It's hard not to breathe, because if I breathe, it moves my body, and which changes the pitch of the instrument. So very difficult to play.
All right, well, you guys seem to make it work, and we're going to hear a little bit more from you later on in the show. All right, we'll be back with a whole lot more. Oh, before we go, you guys are playing this week. Where are you playing?
Oh, we're playing actually next week at the Wasatch Brew Pub on Main Street in Park City with the Radical Rat music compilation for Sundance.
Okay, fantastic. And for more information on that, you can go to our website, or you can go to radicalrat.com. We'll be back with the weather and more music right after this.